Hello. It's like 2 in the morning. I am still in the hospital. So I asked on Instagram for some questions to answer, and we're gonna answer some questions. Great, let's go. So I asked mostly for like cystic fibrosis related questions. That's kind of the theme of this. Where do I start? I don't know where I am. Valentina Turner says, if you didn't have cystic fibrosis, do you think you would still live your current lifestyle? That's hard to say because like butterfly effect. I don't know what anything in my life would be like if I didn't have cystic fibrosis because this is all that I've ever known. But I would like to think that I would still be living this lifestyle. It's not like I decided that I'm gonna go travel and do all these things because I have cystic fibrosis. I've wanted to do this for a really long time without even thinking about the cystic fibrosis aspect of it. I was just like, wow, that sounds like a fun lifestyle. I want to do that. So I started doing it. Never Greenery asks, how does your family deal with the fact that you have CF? Do they visit you in the hospital? How do they deal with it? They just do. I feel like they're used to it at this point because I've had it my whole life. Do they visit you in the hospital? My dad's visited. My sisters haven't, but they're busy working in school and stuff, so it's understandable. Laura, I don't know how to say your name. When you get better, what is your next move? Are you going to stay home for a while or are you planning to travel? If so, where? When I get home, I'm immediately leaving because I don't want to be here anymore and it's starting to get cold in Massachusetts. I'm going to California first to visit my friends there, and then when I get bored of California, I'm probably going back to Southeast Asia for a while. Sircan KR says, how do you handle with CF? Do you accept it? Do you realize it? Or you just say, fuck it, I live my life till the end? Because I have CF too, and I really don't know how I feel about it because I'm getting older and older, and so getting closer to my end, if you know what I mean. How do you live with it? I don't know. I accepted the fact that I'm gonna die a lot earlier than most people a long time ago. It doesn't really bother me. Really, I could die at any moment. Anyone could die at any moment. You could get hit by a car tomorrow and be dead. You don't really know when you're gonna die. I know that I'm probably not gonna live to be like 100 years old. I don't really think about it in that way. I don't think, oh shit, I'm dying. I don't know. We're all dying. Who cares? People worry too much about dying when you should really just be focused on living. You are on this earth. Why would you want to waste all your time thinking about what's gonna happen when you're not on this earth? You know? Just like live while you're alive, you know? Bella Dams says, number one thing that's kept you positive and grounded consistently all these years? Just the fact that I'm alive is enough to keep me positive because it's such a privilege and like experience to just be alive. The fact that you exist, you have all these senses of like touch and sight. There are so many things to see and experience, and like how can you not think of that as a positive thing? Like, it's crazy that we're alive, and I feel like people don't even really appreciate it. What is existence? Why am I alive? Why am I here? Why am I making these words? Why am I having these thoughts? I don't know, but it's cool and I'm into it. I guess just being alive is what keeps me positive. Jose asks, do you have insurance? What is your lung function right now, and are you on the list for a transplant? Do I have insurance? Yes, I'm still on my family's insurance until I turn 26, I think it is. What is your lung function right now? My FEV1 is around 50%. And are you on the list for a transplant? No, I'm not, and that's because transplants are kind of a last resort thing for people with cystic fibrosis. If I wanted to be on the list for a transplant, my lung function would have to be down. I think it's like 20% or something around there when you get on the list for that. But also, transplants are really risky. I don't know if I would ever be interested in getting one. It's not as simple as just giving someone new lungs and suddenly they're cured. It's like taking on a whole other disease with all the drugs that you have to take to prevent the lungs from rejecting, and going through the actual transplant process is really risky and kind of terrifying and not really something that I'm interested in. Live With Me asks, how do you feel about Clara Winelands passing? For those who don't know, Clara Wineland was a girl with cystic fibrosis who recently passed away, and she did a lot of like TED Talks, and she had a YouTube channel, and she was a big inspiration for a lot of people with cystic fibrosis. and people without cystic fibrosis. When she died a couple weeks ago, I cried. Don't really know what to say about it. I'm glad that she was alive for the time that she was alive. Desiree asks, are you scared of dying? And what do you believe will happen to your spirit? Get well soon. Thanks, Desiree. Am I scared of dying? Yes and no. I don't think about dying on a daily basis. It's not something that I'm constantly afraid of, but I've had moments where I've truly felt like I was suffocating or I was coughing up so much blood that I thought I was gonna die. And those are the kind of moments that scare me. In those moments, you're like, shit, I don't think I've done everything that I wanted to do yet. And I don't think that I've finished saying everything that I've wanted to say yet. And I don't want to die yet. You just kind of panic. When I've been really close to death, I get scared. But just in my daily, everyday life, it's not really something I think about. What do I believe will happen to my spirit? I don't know. I'd like to believe that there's something after this life. Half of me thinks that it's just like going to sleep and never waking up. Like you have no conception of it. You're not conscious and aware, so you wouldn't even know that you were dead. And it's kind of like being asleep minus the dreaming. I mean, I don't really know what happens after you die, because I've never done it and nobody really knows. It doesn't really matter that much to me because I'm more concerned about what's happening like right now. Like I don't care what happens after I die. I care about what's happening right now because that's the only thing that I'm sure of. Brucus 2008 asks, how are the hospitals doing with you being vegan? They can't seriously just be giving you potatoes, can they? That's like terrible neglect. It is terrible neglect. They do have more vegan options than potatoes. They have like green beans and rice and cereal. That's about it. All of the vegetables are like microwave. They taste really bad and not edible, so the only ones that I eat, or the only one that I eat, is potatoes. So I've been basically living off baked potatoes since I've been here. I think even if I wasn't vegan, I wouldn't eat the food here because it's just barely edible. You would think if you want somebody to get better, you would feed them a healthy diet. It just seems kind of counterintuitive. I feel like hospitals need to include more natural approaches to health as well as medical ones, because medical stuff does have its place, but at the same time, they're giving me all these antibiotics, but they're also neglecting every other aspect of health. I think if we combined natural health with the medical stuff, there could be a better result, but they almost don't want you to get completely better, because if you get completely better, you're not going to end up coming back to the hospital ever. And then the hospital is not going to make as much money off of you. Dan's World says, is there anything we can do to make Steffi less sad about being in stupid hospitals? You guys already make me less sad because you entertain me on Instagram and YouTube with all of your comments. So D. Jens asks, is it any workout that helps with cystic fibrosis? Anything without drugs that makes you breathe easier? There are a lot of things, like natural things, that help with breathing. Exercise helps to maintain lung function, so anything cardio that gets you breathing is good. Salt water, inhaling salt water helps. That's something that I do twice a day. Not eating dairy helps because dairy causes more mucus in the body. Being near the ocean helps. Being in warm environments helps. Ooh, that's a good question. Bree Spins says, do you think you'll ever bring a child into this world? I don't want to bring a child into this world. With people with cystic fibrosis, pregnancy is very difficult and very risky just because of the fact that we can barely keep ourselves alive, never mind keeping ourselves and another living being alive. I would also not feel right bringing a baby into this world because I'm very likely to die pretty young, so I wouldn't want to have a baby and then die and have it not have a mother. I know how that feels because my mother died when I was 11, and I wouldn't want to put someone else through that. Unicorn Piss asks, do you ever get mad at the universe for your CF? Do you ever ask, why me? I feel like I've kind of accepted it, and if I didn't have all these experiences, I wouldn't be who I am right now, and I wouldn't be able to help people in the same way. So I think, in a sense, it's a good thing because it made me more compassionate and more understanding and able to bring more awareness. Sophie Lou 2016 says, how do you find the energy to live such a dope life? How do I find the energy energy. A lot of the times, honestly, when I'm traveling and stuff, I don't have a lot of energy. Some days I have more than others, but sometimes I just want to stay in bed all day because I'm just exhausted from coughing or whatever. I usually try to force myself out of it and try to force myself to like get out and breathe. I also do have to take a lot of breaks, and I'm kind of slow compared to my friends. I feel like the fat friend that can't keep up, but it's just because of my lungs. I could sit at home and rot at my dad's house until I die, or I could go out and live my life. And although it's exhausting sometimes, I would much rather go out and live my life. Waf K says, how did you deal with cystic fibrosis when you were younger? I just kind of did, because I didn't really know that there was anything wrong with me. It's all I've ever known. It's kind of like I have really bad eyesight, and I didn't know that I had bad eyesight until I was in 4th grade and I finally got my eyes checked. But up until then, I had always had blurry vision, so that was all I knew, and I thought everybody saw like that. It's kind of like that. I thought that it was normal to like not be able to breathe and to have to do chest PT and do all these nebulizers and take all these pills. But then eventually when I got older, I realized, oh, that's not normal, and that's not something that other kids do. It didn't really bother me. It's just like a part of life. Faded Flame says, will this affect your traveling in the future? How often do these infections happen that leave you hospital bound? Will these happen your whole life? Will this affect my traveling in the future? Yes, which is why I'm trying to travel and do things as much as I can while I still can, because eventually I'm not going to be able to do anything that I'm doing now. How often do these infections happen that leave me in the hospital? For me, it's like at least once a year. And will these happen your whole life? It's a progressive disease, meaning that over time it gets worse. So when I was younger, it was more like every 4 years I was in the hospital, and now it's like every year, and eventually it's gonna be like every couple months. Eventually it'll be like I live in the hospital basically, and then I die. Susie asks, are there more people in your family with CF? No, there's not. My mom and dad are both carriers of CF. Like, they carry the gene that made it so I have CF, but neither of them have CF. Bria BC asks, do you believe in a higher power, or are you religious? Also, your favorite place in the world. Hope you feel better soon. Thanks. Do I believe in a higher power? Yes. I wouldn't necessarily call it God, but I feel like there has to be some sort of energy that's bigger than us and that we can't exactly comprehend. Am I religious? No. I think there are things from a lot of different religions that I do resonate with, but there's no one religion that says everything that perfectly matches my thoughts. And your favorite place in the world? Probably Indonesia or Thailand. Okay, I think that's enough questions. I don't know what else to say. Thanks for all the questions. And I hope that you pet a dog today, and I hope that you're having a great life. Okay, that's all. Bye!